Welcome to The Print. I'm Akshaya Nath, Senior Assistant Editor, and today on StateDraft, we're going to talk about Save Ennore Creek. Chennai oil spill turns focus to a lifeline in ICU. 3 weeks since Cyclone Michaung caused a massive oil spill in Chennai's Ennore Creek, there is concern that the cleanup, which remains underway, may not be the end of the ordeal for the local residents. Most of the people in the region don't know the gravity of the situation, and they are even unaware of the substance in the oil that has breached into their homes, said Prabhakaran Veerarasa, an environmental engineer associated with Poolga Nanbargal, a Chennai-based environment organization. People lived in the house with the sludge for close to 5 days until it was removed, he added, saying a test had established the presence of benzene, toluene, and styrene in the oil. Long-term exposure to these chemicals has been linked with cancer besides liver and kidney issues, he said. Prabhakaran said a field study conducted by his team after the cyclone had led them to several people who had developed skin-related issues and rashes as well as swelling in hands and were experiencing a burning sensation in their chest and eyes. Many children got high fever, he added. There will be a lot of long-term impact with regard to the health of the people in the region, Prabhakaran said. While the Tamil Nadu government is conducting a health assessment in affected areas, questions have arisen about its handling of the crisis. Fishermen who depend on the Ennore Creek have said the compensation amount is inadequate to get them back on their feet, and environmentalists have flagged the absence of a contingency plan for oil spills in Tamil Nadu, which they say delayed the cleanup and worsened the situation. But the loudest note of concern surrounds the crucial ecosystem comprising the creek, which forms the backwater of the Kosastalaya River. The creek is part of the Ennore Polycate wetland system, which also comprises the Karungali estuary and the Pulicat Lake. The system together acts as an ecological unit that protects biodiversity and recharges groundwater. Environmentalists credit the system for ensuring North Chennai wasn't completely marooned during the floods caused by Michaung. As 45,000 cusecs of water was released from Pundi and Pural reservoirs, the wetland system absorbed the excess flood water. The wetlands are also home to many rare migratory birds. However, once spread over 10,000 acres, the system has shrunk due to rampant encroachments by public sector undertakings. In July 2022, activists say the National Green Tribunal had ordered Tamil Nadu government to declare this wetland protected. Though the NGT order came in July 2022, it has still not been implemented. The physical plight of the creek before the chemical hazard was encroachment, said Nithyanand Jayaraman, an environmentalist, adding that now once the visible traces of oil disappears, the wetland will once again go back to its deadly normal, a state of being in the intensive care unit. Reached for comment, Supriya Sahu, the Additional Chief Secretary for the Environment, Climate Change and Forest Department, said the notification process of the wetland will be completed soon. The focus right now is the cleanup, she added. The oil spill happened on 4th December as Michaung battered Chennai with heavy winds and rains. Oil from a refinery of the public sector, Chennai Petroleum Corporation Limited, CPCL, spilled into Buckingham Canal, also a part of the wetland system, and Ennore Creek. On 28 December, Sahu said the emergency oil recovery work had been completed. However, the government has told the NGT that work in the mangrove area of the creek will take more time. 60 fisher boats will continue to perform localized cleaning, with another 20 vessels deployed exclusively for the mangrove areas until January. The oil spill stoked a crisis in the creek's neighborhood. In Ernaur, water mixed with oil sludge rose as high as 5 feet and seeped into most houses. A viral video showed residents walking chest deep in oil-laden sludge amid evacuation efforts. Speaking to ThePrint, Sahu said local residents had been impacted by the spill in 2 ways. First are villages where the water went inside their homes, and second are the fishermen whose boats' nets got coated with oil and were also prevented from fishing as the Ennore Creek area was affected. M. Anandan, a 73-year-old resident from the area, said the water-oil mixture had risen neck-deep inside his home and left sludge mark in several parts. We need a lot of cleaning before we can stay here again. The smell is unbearable. After a few hours, the chest feels heavy, he said, adding that he is living with a relative while the cleanup is in progress. Sahu acknowledged that the situation in Ennore is not definitely normal, adding that the state government and CPCL have set up different medical teams to screen people. We are reaching out to a few doctors through the state's health secretary to see if we can take up a long-term impact study on the health of the residents here, and that is in progress, Sahu added. Meanwhile, fisherfolk said they will read under the impact for the next 6 to 8 months at least. Almost all the fishes in the region have died, and nobody is willing to buy the other fishes as it's oil soaked, they added. Also, all the nets and boats are damaged, Anandan said. As directed by the NGT, the Chief Minister Saturday announced compensation for the 9,001 families affected in the region. This includes rupees 12,500 each for the 2,301 family from the fishing villages and rupees 10,000 per boat for the repairs. It is far from adequate, say the local fisherfolk, adding that their boats were most likely beyond repair. Muthu R, a resident of Kathukupam, said that the nets cannot be used again and the boats soaked in oil will start cracking once it dries and gets sunlight. Even a diesel leak damages fiber boats, which expands in the heat. Imagine the whole boat is now soaked in oil, he added. Each boat without a motor costs between rupees 1.5 lakh and 3 lakh. What will we do with just rupees 10,000 per boat, he questioned. In 1996, a national contingency plan for oil spill was introduced. Based on the national policy, each state was supposed to come up with its own contingency plan, but Tamil Nadu still does not have one, said M. Vetrichelvan, an environmentalist with Poolagan Nanbargal. Under the contingency plan, the first authority to respond to an oil spill is the Coast Guard, followed by the Oil and Natural Gas Corporation. Then other departments, in coordination with the state government, get involved. Without a proper plan in place, when the oil spill was reported on 4th December, there was no response, say activists. This is an industrial accident and people reported it on 4th and 5th of December. It was only on the 6th of December that the Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board, TNPCB, reached the site. TNPCB, in its first report, said there are only traces of oil and it diluted the issue, said Vetrichelvan. Prabhakaran said both CPCL and TNPCB should be held responsible for delaying the response during the disaster's golden hour, which is the first few hours after the spill. Jayaraman added that the entire operation from the government's end has been a learning as you go exercise. It is not as per any established protocol. Established protocol would have required an immediate response within a day to contain the damage, to cut off the source, and then to deploy a crew that is trained in dealing with spills and chemical hazards. In Ennore, environmentalists say fishermen were hired over the first 2 days as daily labor by CPCL and asked to start cleaning up without basic safety equipment. For an oil spill of this nature, where you are dealing with a lot of airborne gases and particulate matter, you need masks that can filter the particulate matter, not the ordinary COVID mask or the N95, said Jayaraman. Asked about the contingency plan, Sahu said a draft was formulated in 2017 and is awaiting approval from the Coast Guard. She said the Coast Guard and the state have been working on the finer details of the plan, which was drafted after an oil spill caused by a collision between two cargo vessels off Kamarajur Port. Sahu said the plan, whose details are not publicly available, is in the correspondence stage. The Coast Guard has raised certain queries like having certain equipments for tackling an oil spill already procured by the state. We responded that once the draft is passed, the required equipments will be purchased, etc. She added, even during this spill, we have referred to certain SOPs given in the draft as it is prepared to tackle such a scenario and has inputs from all stakeholders. Sahu said, however, that the Coast Guard was immediately alerted to the spill, but operations were delayed by certain factors. The tide was very high, and only after the current subsided were we able to see the impact of the oil spill, she said. And additionally, this is the first time where the spill happened in the creek and the Coast Guard's equipment was not able to come into the shallow creek area, Sahu said. A creek area, Sahu said, is highly impacted due to high and low tides, and There were no SOPs for the same. The general SOPs for cleanup around a refinery or a storage area were not applicable for the creek region. Sahu said, adding that this led to the cleaning team jumping into the oil waters. Sahu said while the oil spill management group had physically met only 5 to 6 days after the incident, the chief minister and the chief secretary had been taking daily reviews from the day it was reported. Along with the Coast Guard and Revenue, Environment, and various other departments, as well as the local bodies, the state has formed an immediate oil spill coordination center to oversee the cleaning operations, she said. The entire cleaning operations was undertaken by 4 specialized agencies with a deployment of 128 boats, she added, saying several other kinds of equipments like excavators, oil boomers, floating barriers that contain the spill, and oil skimmers aided the effort. Until 20th December, she said 105.82 kiloliters of oil, water, and 393 tons of oil sludge had been removed. The real issue, as the cleaning operation continues, environmentalists say the region faces is bigger questions, including how residential areas were permitted within a 1 kilometer radius of a red category industry like CPCL. The oil produced here is highly inflammable and is also the waste from here is toxic, said Vetrichelvan. Jayaraman added that the existence of residential areas so close to CPCL shows that the department's concern are not serious about zoning. Environmentalists have also repeatedly flagged encroachments in the wetland. In the 2020, the Save Ennore Creek campaign, in a report to Union Home Minister Amit Shah, alleged that more than 660 acres of the backwater had been encroached by public sector undertakings. The Kamraj report, it claimed, had encroached 114 acres, while the coal ash dump, Tamil Nadu Energy Company Limited, NTECL, took up 203 acres and the Bharat Petroleum another 100 acres. Sahu said the process to notify the wetland as a protected region is underway, adding that its sanctity was best summarized by an elderly fisherman they met during the cleanup. After a long day's work, he told us, soon the oil in the area will be cleared and cleaned up. But your work to safeguard the creek here is a never ending process, she said, quoting the fisherman. The creek, is a lifeline. That's all I have for you on this state draft about the oil spill leak in the Ennore Creek. Do tune in to The Print for more such stories. I'm Akshaya Nath, Senior Assistant Editor with The Print.